guys, welcome to tuning in to this episode of Jack's Business Talk. Today we're sitting under the Aurora Lights, the completely non-AI generated Aurora Lights. We have a
Taking the
special guest.
glory.
Today we have a special guest, Mikey, and want to
Everyone.
talk to you a little bit about what it took to get us to invest in the real estate. Mikey, did you want to go first on this one?
Sure. So I was going really hard into mutual funds and this S&P. For into as how long it to actually financial freedom when we talk about the 4% rule kind of building up a 1 million is probably with inflation now, you probably need more like 2 million just to be able to retire. And they talk about that 40 for 40 rule. And that just sounded horrible to me. I tried to go into crypto, but that's the same thing where, you know, it's not it's not really anything you can do with it until it's just not the same asset as real estate. That's why I decided to pivot. It's been challenging. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I think this is the path for me moving forward. I'm really confident in that.
Do you want to go over some of your mistakes and stuff, or you want me to talk a little bit?
Oh yeah, yeah, please. You can go and maybe we can share war stories between each other.
So I guess for me, it started off with like when I was in high school and college and stuff, and even high school, I was doing a lot of stock investing and stuff, and I actually paid for, I want to say like 70% of my college from just investing in the stocks. So I was good at it, and that was during the '08 crash. I was making bank, and like I said, I paid for most of my college from investing in the stocks, so I was good at it. But it's just after, I depleted all of that from college and a couple other things and get into the first job and stuff. And then I really wasn't putting money back. And afterward, I started putting money back into the stock market, and it just wasn't growing. It just was not growing. Even using different strategies and stuff, I could not get it to grow. And I realized at that point, especially with the only thing I had was the 401k, Social Security, I thought was just basically going to be a scam. It wasn't going to be around. So I had to figure out something else to make it work. So I tried a couple little businesses. I wouldn't say that they failed. They're coming back, but it's I found out that there are more of a ways to build up income to buy more real estate, which then, everything kind of led into real estate where I could have the cash flow, everything going, and just being able to enjoy life while living off your cash flow. You can use your cash flow from real estate to invest into stocks too. Like
Mhm.
if you're not ready to retire, you can do that even as an option. But honestly, real estate is probably the fastest route from point A to point B. At least for me, it was.
Based on how your 5 year numbers are looking now, how much longer do you think it's going to take? I know we've talked about it before, but just
I'd say probably right around 5 more years, if that. Um, I'm hoping in the next 2 or 3 years to get Cynthia done with her job and have her start managing everything. And I'll probably work 2 more years to finish up a few loose ends, just take care of the major things, kind of like what Matt the Lumberjack Landlord, like finish up all your big projects, the roofs, and this and that. That way, for the next 20, 30 years, you're basically just all the work is done. minus stuff like hot water tanks and furnaces and stuff. Like you can't take care of that in advance, really.
Mm.
You can only do so much there. But get all the big stuff done, and then I'll wrap things up, and I'll cash out my 401k and hopefully be able to buy four more rental properties, is what I'm hoping. And I was telling something the other day, it's like honestly, what my goal is to then start the landscaping maintenance company, have a couple people doing the turnovers, doing the painting and all the hanging cabinets, doing the bathrooms and stuff, like the small stuff. And from there, then have them cutting grass during the summer. That's where they're going to basically make their paychecks. Try to do, you know, I'm estimating about 7 lawns a day for two guys, and then just doing maintenance work or everywhere else, do mulch beds, easy work. And that's how I'll pay them without having to eat too much into my own money. And I'll do the vending machines too. After I'll have the real estate license as well, which is something I can do too. And it's not like I have to sell a ton of houses. I'd be okay with just with accomplishing one house a month.
Mm.
So I guess I'm kind of just using real estate more as like 90% plus of my income as I'm setting up the stocks, as I'm setting up this other businesses and stuff. And I'm going to use that also to help diversify everything.
It's great that you brought up cashing out your retirement accounts because that's something I'm looking into as well, where, you know, paying paying the fees and the penalties, you pay your state and your federal, and I also believe a 10% penalty on top of that. But with how with how you have 5 years of experience as an investor, you know your numbers and you could find a deal that can outperform what the stock market can provide within that time frame. So I think that's a great, you know, choice to look at. And I'm interested to see how that goes for you because that's something I'm considering as well.
Well, I'll be honest, like if someone was to come up to me and ask me about cashing out their 401k, I would probably actually send them over to you because you're you're the person that probably did it the smartest way so far. Do you want to
I
talk a little bit about that?
sure I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but when I had began that tunnel vision of doing 401k Roth IRAs, the first thing I looked at was what pieces do I have? And the Roth IRA was something I could tap without getting penalties because with the Roth IRA, if you have invested for 5 years, you're able to withdraw. Of course, it's not financial advice, but just from my experience, you can withdraw the 5 years of contributions only, and you won't get penalized on that.
And what about the 401k?
Yeah, the 401k, that's something I'm looking at now. And I'm kind of looking where I've had a lot of major expenses for this year. And when I compare it to next year, where I'm looking at the properties and the rental income I'll be getting and just weighing different options in my total kind of portfolio, I'm thinking I actually might pull the trigger on my rollover only and paying the penalties up front. And I'm not gonna jump into anything, but I'm just gonna sit on it and wait until a deal can come across where I'll pull the trigger on. Just being slow and steady in that aspect.
Yeah, I think that's all really good advice. So, what would you advise someone who is just starting out, excuse me, who's just starting out, they're not quite sure if they want to do real estate or not. They have a bad credit score, and they're just starting off from scratch.
What helped me get out of debt was Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, and I listened to his radio show. So I followed that radio show and I read that book diligently until I was able to get out of debt. Then once I got out of debt, I started looking into other resources of how I can use my discretionary income and be able to pile that away slowly. So I was able to stack that cash slowly just to build up enough savings where I was able to put a down payment on the place. But just out there in Hawaii, when I reached out to lenders, they kind of laughed at me and said I'm better off moving to another state. So I wasn't able to buy anything over here based on my have kind of a more middling salary. So that's why I decided to invest out of state with the help of Mark Rashio, financial firefighter, who's also based in Hawaii.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is if you have a bad credit score, Graham Stephan made, I think it was like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 really good videos on how to improve your credit, and you should go and listen to them. There's a lot of good information that it's honestly not worth me trying to duplicate because I can't add anything to it. But go check out his channel and gather the information. You may honestly have to use a prepaid debit card for a while just to help get the bleeding under control and start from scratch more or less.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed, just try to do it a little bite size at a time. Get
Yeah,
Dave Ramsey talks about get that debt snowball rolling. If you can knock out, it may not be the smartest thing, but if you can knock out smaller debts, you'll feel that momentum. And then once you get momentum on your side, then you can start tackling the bigger debts. And then once you get that accomplishment, you'll feel so empowered to just, okay, now what's my next move? And you'll slowly start growing and you'll feel your financial health get way better.
yeah, those are all real good points. Yeah, there's the what Dave Ramsey does the debt snowball method, where you start off with your smaller ones and you gradually keep working away your bigger and bigger debts and then your house and everything else. But yeah, he has a couple good, really good books. The Total Money Makeover was a book about getting yourself out of debt and building yourself a future and stuff.
Yeah, that was a cornerstone for me to get started. Did you want to go over some of the war stories that we've encountered along the way?
Yeah. So before the buying rentals and stuff, I guess for me, I never really lost money in the stock, so like I can't really talk about that. Hmm. But for me, my big thing was I was getting wore out, and I knew that there had to be more to life than just going to work, working 40 hours, working to in your 60s, and like honestly, they're talking about people in my age bracket having to work until they're 70, and by that time you're probably gone, or you have no more go-go years because you just you know wore yourself out from working that hard that many years. That's what really got me wanting to do something else with my life because I wouldn't have mind potentially working 30 years, especially with a place and being able to be done with it. Because you figure where I'm at now, it's like I'm already on a year 11. I'm almost halfway. But you're never promised tomorrow. And it just gets to a point where when you don't 100% enjoy what you're doing. And with the fact that you're called to do more than what is you're being asked to do, it leads into a very hard mental game that you have to like force yourself to go to a place like that just in order to, make ends meet and stuff. Because in reality, I can't go anywhere else that's going to be better than what I already have. But like what I have now is going to be as good as I'm going to get. That's what kind of got me into real estate and stuff.
Yeah, that resonated with me. I hope you clip that and you put it into a short because that really resonated with me. Where I think you can be passionate about financial freedom and you will have different journeys along the way. You'll maybe try stuff and it won't work or it won't fit your needs. So you'll switch to something else. And real estate doesn't have to be the thing. If you're talented at something else and you enjoy it, go for it. But
Yeah,
if you can just
exactly.
find, yeah,
Yeah, like real estate can be the wheels to get you to what you want to do in your aspirations in life. Like, for example, one of my goals is I'd like to set up a small Christian campground stuff where it has like some glamp sites and has a place where people can feel safe. But I'm not going to be able to do that passion project without the help of real estate to get the money and the funding to do all that stuff. So, yeah, I love real estate. Don't get me wrong. I probably like it more than people like Mark, who says I just do it because whatever he says. But he said before he doesn't love real estate. I probably like it more than him. But there's other people like Jared that seem like that's all they want to talk about.
I like it because I was feeling a little bit trapped in my job and I knew I could be doing more with my time. And what I like about real estate is it's a business of your own that you can build. It's something you can constantly evolve, learn from. You can constantly, there's other parts of you that can grow off of real estate investing, like networking, shopping for lenders and mortgage brokers. But that's what surprised me the most is just the people I've met along the way. And the more I talk with people like you, I just feel more emboldened that I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the right group. And if I just continue, just do the daily discipline, I think in 10 years, we'll be looking back and just be smiling that we made this decision, stuck it out, grinded it out. But I agree because we can take little plateaus along the way to enjoy life. But then right after we come off of that plateau, then let's just keep on grinding for the next deal.
Next 10 years from now, I'll be visiting you in Japan. You'll be visiting me somewhere out here in the States.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to see the Japanese countryside. I think that's always looked pretty cool.
I think hopefully if I ever do live there, hopefully I'll be up in the countryside and you can come visit anytime you want.
You'll have to correct me on everything on how I'm screwing up all the culture and stuff.
Oh man, even the Japanese look at me strange when I try to talk Japanese. So I just when we're talking about war stories and kind of the problems we had, I have to admit, I've kind of struggled with drinking in my past, where I would go out and I'd party a lot. I'd probably get blackout drunk. I'd wake up and the first thing I look for is my bank account because I didn't know how much money I spent. And a lot of the times the the amounts would be pretty ridiculous where I would lose my paycheck in the first week just going out drinking, going out to bars and everything. So I really once I started experiencing that pain, I had to get myself out of that. get myself out of debt, and just try to figure out how how can I use my paycheck in a different way so that I can reach financial freedom. Because I think drinking was a way for me to escape my reality, to escape my W-2, which I didn't think was the most optimal for me. And even though I'm not making the best salary, I just thought there's got to be a better way. I can use this money instead of just doing the 9 to 5 until I'm 65 or probably even older nowadays.
Yeah, there's a few or for a few years there before I met Cynthia that it wasn't uncommon for me to go to the bar a couple times a week, and I would literally blow almost my entire paycheck just between those two nights. And it's just pulling yourself out of that atmosphere and all that, and just realizing that there's going to be no one there to help you in the end, and you just have to hunker down and sacrifice these years now while they may be your prime years left because you're when you think of your prime years, like people always think, oh, from when you're like 18 to 30. Well, you know what? Today is your prime year for the rest of your life, and tomorrow will be the best day, your closest day to your prime for the rest of your life. Like you're never going to get your ultimate peak prime ever again, but today is your prime from 10 years from now. So you have to sacrifice what you have in order to have a better future for tomorrow. So you're not sitting there eating cat food and ramen noodles, you know, relying on your Social Security, which is only pennies of what you put into it, and rely on a 401k, which is only a couple $100. I mean, to me, that sounds like a horror show that I just don't want to be a part of.
And so it may be hard, but just start. If you get started, maybe one page a day, maybe one podcast a week. If you kind of just get started, get your wheels rolling, yeah, you'll be in the truck up league in no time.
Yeah, just get started. Like NVIDIA says when they're talking about starting a YouTube channel, just hit record. Well, with real estate and stuff, start looking at the market, learn your buy box, start working on your credit score, get yourself out of debt. When you truly understand what your buy box is, you'll be ready to hopefully buy something by then. But you have to start now. You, dwelling on it or what you coulda, shoulda, woulda 10 years ago isn't going to help. And you need to just get started.
Like or Mosley talks about, don't look at the lady in the red dress. Don't get distracted. The shiny object syndrome. Just buckle down. If you have a W-2 you can leverage into buy and hold long-term real estate, do that. And that's why I appreciate, you having me on and us talking because it does help me solidify my plans, get my future more dialed in. And then I've also found that it helps me when I'm networking, when I'm talking with lenders, when I'm talking to new networks, just being able to be on camera, talking through things. It's really helped me out. So I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, by the way, for everyone, Mikey wasn't able to be on camera today because he's out trying to be healthy.
Yeah, I'm cycling right now.
He he's on hard times. Don't let him lie to you. He set up a Venmo account if you feel like donating to him. He's trying to deliver pizzas off the back of his bike.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Bose. Delivered by Buzztune yourself.
But no, it's good that you're working on cycling and taking steps towards health. You're turning driving with Jack into a whole new a whole new concept now. That actually reminds me, I have been able to film a driving with Jacks lately because my holder has been in the Silverado, and like every day I walk past the truck and I keep forgetting to bring the key down to open it up to pull it out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, it's been in there for like a week and a half. I just every day I keep forgetting to grab the key and I walk right past the truck every day, twice a day. Yeah, I want to do another
Good.
catching up video.
That's a good point. Is sometimes we're so busy because trying to do family life, trying to do real estate, trying to do your W-2. Sometimes things are going to get left on the side, but you just got to find a way to manage everything, and eventually it'll all come together. But there are going to be,
Just start fights with all your family, then you won't have to worry about that part, and then you just crank out the overtime and buy all the rental properties you need, and then you'll be done. There,
yes,
there you go, problem solved.
boom, boom, yeah,
Yeah, the other thing I would recommend for someone that's new is get into communities like the One Rental at a Time School community, or even the Facebook community, and start networking. Put yourself out there. The people in those groups really want to try and help and push you and pull you up to their level as they're pushing themselves up to a new level, trying to get closer to their retirement. And the more that we build that community and support each other, the more special and unique it will truly become.
yeah. And I can vouch for that because once I met Jack, we were kind of sharing some of our resources together, and that's helped me. We just had a video about winterization, preparing for winter. Just having that discussion with someone who's so deep and locked into the market like you are, I can learn from that. So it's really powerful what you can do with community and networking.
So with that being said, you ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Jack's Business Talk. Again, thank you, Mikey, for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks.